All right, guys, here's a couple of questions that I've received from various students, so sort of combining them together into one video here now. So some people were asking about this issue with our data file for the bookstore data store for the bookstore. So one student was asking, says there's no class here, but I posted out another message earlier saying that with Kotlin, you can have top-level declarants, right? So you can have functions, such as in Kotlin, in IntelliJ, you can have function main. So here you're having load app data, and that's not contained in a class, but it is exposed as a top-level function, and it can be imported and used, and that's just the way Kotlin does stuff, right? So if we go over to here now, and also, so this does not have a sort of a customized art marker or icon because it's not a data class. In fact, it's not any kind of a class. It is a container for this function. And if you want, you could put other functions. Well, actually here as well, you have save app data. And that's kind of convenient in a sense. Think about it. You can call, because you're calling those from all over the place. Anytime you are updating your data store, you should be calling save app data, and here you can do it with one line. You don't have to instantiate an object and then pass that object around, right? That would be kind of a hassle. It would be one more thing you need to move around in your intent. So that's kind of the way we're doing things here. So now if we go and look at our main activity, so you've got to do that. Import com example bookstore data, because that's the package it's in, and then here you are importing the function, not the class. Just that's the way it is, right? Don't try to figure it out. That's just the way Kotlin is written to work. You're importing a function here to be used in this class. Right, so that's one thing. Now, another couple of people pinged me on Slack. They said they had a problem saying that app was not starting when they loaded it to their device. And what's happening here, and I did kick out the instructions. So what's happening with app not starting, if you go to your problem determination worksheet, and we're not going to themes. Even in the advanced course, we're not going to go into Android themes and so on. But suffice it to say that when your app, if your app is set up to look for themes and you don't want to get into a lot of extra complicated work because you just want to concentrate on writing the core app, there are some steps you need to do. So number one is you're going to go and erase some files. And again, I'm not going to go into the Android runtime aspects of why you're doing this because that would take us too far afield from our main focus areas. But if you go here to your values directory, right? So you go to the resources directory, the same place as where layout XML is. And then you go to values. You would also have things here such as strings and colors, which I deleted. Strings doesn't matter, we're not using them. Colors could make a problem. If they're there, they will trigger your Android runtime system to look for certain things which aren't there because we didn't set them up. And that might, in certain conditions, lead to your app not starting. So the fix is as follows, right? So here's the fix. It's all documented in your problem determination sheet. So you're going to go to your Android manifest file inside the application tag. And that is something you have to have, whatever you want your app to show up as on the home screen. You could call that Peter's Bookstore or whatever. But that's a line you have to add. Android : theme equals @style / theme dot whatever is your product name. So you need to do that. And that's pretty much it. So once you do those couple of steps, then if you're still, because it only happened to one or two students. So as I say, Android Studio seems to be very non-deterministic. It depends on the exact specifics of your operating system configuration. But if you have any issue, study in your logcat, and if you see something related to app compat theme, if you see anything in your logcat related to theme, then you follow this procedure. And if it doesn't work, then ping me on Slack and we'll fix it together. All right, so I guess that's about it. And I know that many people have gotten the Bookstore app running because they've sent me the screenshots. So once you've got all that going, if you had any of those issues, right, if you had the issue with that function, that was one thing a few people noted. So just make sure that the proper import is there in your main activity KT, right? You're not importing a class. Don't get hung up on that. You're importing the high-level exposed function directly, and then everything else should be there. Make sure your Android manifest XML is okay. And if you had that issue with app not starting, make sure that the only file, just one file in your resources, values, directory path is styles, nothing else. Doesn't even matter what it's there, don't care. Because it's been created by Android, run by build Gradle tool API, which sets up your entire structure. So whatever's the default of it is fine. And then once you've got all of that going, then just go and run it through a bunch of test cases and add the additional things which I asked you to add in terms of the project. All right, so just go and work on all that stuff. Anyway, any other questions, ping me on Slack. We'll see you later. Bye.